Hello, this is Mr. Stone, and today we're learning about the hydrologic cycle, also known as the water cycle. This video is to help you with our mission objective, which is to develop a model that will allow you to describe the cycling of water through the Earth's systems, which is driven by energy from the sun and the force of gravity. While you're thinking through this video and taking your notes on the things that are being presented to you, there's 5 things that you should learn. The first is what the water cycle is. Next is the significance of the water cycle. You should also know about the different stages of the cycle. Fourth, the source of energy at each stage in the cycle. And finally, you need to know the state of matter that the water is in at each of these different states. So let's get started with our first important question. Why is it important to study and understand the water cycle? We're going to learn that the water cycle is extremely important because it is responsible for distributing water across the earth through evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, which is a process that is so important. It's vital for sustaining life on earth by providing water to the plants and animals and us humans as well. Also, the water cycle is the driving force behind our Earth's climate. So let's look into what the water cycle really is. So the water cycle, again, we've been calling it the hydrologic cycle, is a continuous cycle. So that means it never ends. It's just going over and over. So it's this continuous cycle that is powered primarily by the energy from the sun, and also the force of gravity allows the water to move throughout different places on the earth. So the sun's energy will cause water, like in lakes and rivers and mainly in the ocean, to evaporate. And as it evaporates, it travels up into the atmosphere, up into the air, and cools off and becomes part of the clouds. And then as it condenses in the clouds, the water from the clouds will fall out as rain or snow. And we call this precipitation. And then it collects in these rivers and lakes and oceans and evaporates again. So this is this never-ending cycle that repeats again and again, and water just keeps moving and changing from a solid to a liquid to a gas over and over. So we're going to look at each of the stages of the hydrologic cycle, beginning with the stages that require solar radiation or heat from the sun, which include transpiration as well as evaporation. We're going to start off here with evaporation. And you'll notice evaporation can happen over the land, like in lakes and ponds and even puddles or rivers. And then also the main part of evaporation takes place out of the oceans. So what you need to remember about evaporation, it's this part of the water cycle where the heat from the sun is heating up the liquid water, and it changes liquid water into water vapor or to a gas. So that's what evaporation is. And as you see here in this slide, it tells us that water evaporates from Earth's oceans. That's the main part. But we also see it from lakes, rivers, and that moist air is going to rise up into the atmosphere. A specialized form of evaporation, we call it transpiration. And this is the process of evaporation. So the liquid water is turning into water vapor or to a gas, but it's taking place from plants. In other words, it's kind of like a plant is sweating. So the next stage in the water cycle requires the water to give off heat or to cool down. This is known as condensation. So condensation takes place in the atmosphere, and as water is in the form of gas, it's now less dense, so it can rise higher into the atmosphere. And as it rises higher in the atmosphere, it starts to cool. And as it cools, it becomes liquid again. So again, this process of taking gas water, turning it into a liquid again is called condensation. And when large amounts of water vapor or gas condense, we get the formation of clouds. So along with the sun's energy driving the water cycle, we also have the force of gravity, which is required for the water cycle to work. And we see that in the form of precipitation, runoff, infiltration, and groundwater flow is dependent on gravity working. So this first idea of precipitation is where water in the clouds, it is too heavy. So it's liquid water that's condensed in the clouds, and it's too heavy now. So the gravity causes the water to fall back to the earth. And here we could see water in the liquid form still in the form of rain, but it could also become solid now, and it could be snow or sleet or hail. Another area where we see gravity playing a major role in the water cycle is through this stage we call runoff. So this is when rain falls on the land and the water is absorbed into the ground. We could have groundwater. So groundwater could be defined as things like rivers, lakes, underwater in our aquifers. And so that water is moving across Earth's surface because of gravity. So runoff is this movement of land water to the oceans. And again, it's chiefly in the form of rivers, lakes, and streams. So that is the water cycle and the main ideas you need to know about the water cycle. And just remember, water is constantly being cycled through the atmosphere and the oceans and the land. It's driven by energy from the sun and from gravity. And importantly, that you remember the water cycle is crucial to the existence of life on our planet. So as a result of engaging in this video, taking your notes, thinking through stuff, you should know what the water cycle is. You should know the significance or the importance of the water cycle. You need to know each of the stages of the water cycle and the source of energy of that stage. And you should know if water is in the form of a solid, a liquid, or a gas for those stages. If you've got those, you've got what you need. So as you continue on your mission, good luck and Godspeed.